If you want to get something right, you have to do it by yourself. However, there is a limitation to what an individual can do or achieve in his or her life. Today, we have an interesting modeling tutorial. It's going to be a very long and extended one, in which we shall remake this rim with proper levels of detail for game development and bake textures for each level of detail. I will divide this tutorial into small chapters. Each will be posted sequentially on every Wednesday, since I really have a busy schedule and I cannot post a 2-hour tutorial at once. Make sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell for future updates. This project will be happening in 8 chapters within 2 months. Drop a like if you agree to this, or dislike if you disagree. This rim has 25 sides on its diagonal edge. I would like to increase this number to 30. I will use this rim as reference. However, our design will be much optimized more than the current one, as this reference contains extra loops and polygons that do not support the geometry or add any extra details. Starting with a cylinder primitive with these values. As always mentioned, when you design a real-life object, it is recommended to start your design in real-life dimensions. I am using the metric system as system unit with generic to remove the unit indicator. This is a 19 inches rim. Half of this value is 0.246 meter, as in the radius input. I prefer to use the keyboard entry as method of creation. Use the current values in your project to follow along with this tutorial. From the pivot menu, center the cylinder to the pivot. As long as the cylinder stays in its logical state, we can adjust its values to match the reference. Keep in mind, changing the width value will offset the cylinder position, and centering the cylinder to its pivot will be required afterwards. Our reference is not perfectly aligned to the center of the world. We could align it properly, however, the offset is not that much to worry about. In this tutorial, we will not tessellate the geometry by the turbo smooth, meaning we will shape the cylinder to match the reference by using the modeling tools, which will give us more control over the poly count and reduce the effort of optimization required when using the tessellation technique. This technique is used for open-world games, at least in the last decade, for vehicles and its parts, and still in use for creating some games in targeting low system requirements, as well as environmental assets, to save the overall poly count for the real-time rendering, with or without the new rendering technology provided by some engines, such as the nanite technology provided by the Unreal Engine. AAA or high-standard games do not necessarily mean high hardware demanding or adding useless polygons to the scene. In order to approach the reference design, I consider this rim to be 5 arms rim with a space in each arm. And to be able to create this space or gap, I need an edge to be located exactly at the center of each arm. To achieve this in the simplest possible way, I need to rotate the geometry. I chose 5 as the rotation angle, since the diagonal edge's number is divisible by this number. When rotating objects at the object level, you need to reset the pivot rotation to the world. We shall continue our work in the next chapter.